welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build video. I told you guys last time that I wasn't gonna upload because I went on yet again another holiday, my last and final holiday of the year. I won't be going to another one until next year because I do not have the finances for that. Even this one, it has financially broke me. When I came back, I had to meet my friend in London, and even that financially broke me. And then the day after, the LOVESTRUCK pack came out, and then I just took the biggest hit, and I was like, okay, that's enough money leaving my account. It stressed me out. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to keep it low key, really crack down and try to find a job because I really want to start financially supporting myself better and become less reliant on my parents, because I am so grateful for what they do. But obviously, their financial needs, the financial attention, it's required elsewhere. There's other things I believe that will be better suited for their money, because I have the ability to get a job and I have the time, and I would love to get a job before I go and pursue my master's. So yeah, I'm really cracking down this time to get one. But yeah, I went on a holiday. I went to Malta. It was my first ever time going to Europe, besides obviously the UK. It was my first ever time going to Europe, because normally when I go on holiday, I just always go to Zimbabwe, which is not necessarily a holiday. It's more of just like visiting. But I went to Malta, and then I started seeing like some of my favorite influencers were going to Malta. One of my favorite influencers, she's engaged in a woman. I completely forgot her name. I think her name is Yasmin. Yes, I think her name is Yasmin. She went to Malta the day I left Malta. And just a lot of people have been talking about it, and the fact that we went during such a time, it was crazy. And for my first ever holiday to a beach-like place, it was a very good holiday. My only qualm about it is that instead of going for 6 days, I think I would have been satisfied with going for even 4 days, because when you go for such a long time, and I have the same qualms when I go to Zimbabwe, we go normally for a month, but now we're trying to reduce it, just so we can like take advantage of every single day we spend in Zimbabwe. Because when you go for so many days, you end up having days where you just don't do anything. So in Zimbabwe, there were days where we just wouldn't see anyone because we just have those extra days, and sometimes we don't feel the sense of urgency. And it's the same thing when we were in Malta. We had so many days and not necessarily a lot of things to do on set days. So we didn't feel a sense of urgency. So we just wouldn't do things sometimes. And that was great, but for them, because they all have jobs or they're at university. But for me, it was like, I do that at home. I could be doing that at home. Because the shocking thing is that I get it. I get the reason why. But when we went to our hotel, the entire time we got ready, I'm not someone who likes to go out. So my friends were the ones that would go out to then strip and have fun with the clubs and everything and like that. And I normally stayed back at the hotel. So when we were getting ready the first night there, they were getting ready to go out. I was getting ready to go to bed, watch a bit of Cartoon Network. I absolutely love Cartoon Network. I pull back the sheets and I'm expecting a duvet, because in all the hotels I've ever been to, there has been a duvet. Sometimes a painfully thin duvet, but a duvet nonetheless. So I got ready to do that. And then as I pulled it back, I was like, wait, what's going on here? Because it was a sheet. And I was like, this reminds me a lot in America when there's like the sheet and then the duvet and there's something. I was like, okay. So when I pull this back, hopefully I'll be revealed with a duvet. I was not revealed with a duvet. It was just a sheet. And because of that, we had the aircon on because it was so hot in Malta. So when when they ended up going out, the aircon was still kind of blasting. I turned it off, but I was just shivering inside of the sheet, trying to go to sleep. And what made it worse is that when we were preparing to go to Malta, we had to go to Manchester Airport. So we went to Manchester Airport, and we went there so early before our flight because we feared missing our flight, and our flight was early in the morning, so we had to get like the last trains and stuff like that. We went so early for our flight that we ended up having to stay at Manchester Airport for like 6 to 8 hours. And we slept on the floor there, and it was very cold, extremely cold. And the entire time I just was not comfortable, and I kept telling myself, in 12 hours you'll be in Malta, it'll be a hot country and you'll be okay. So just imagine the shock on my face when I'm now in a thin sheet, in a cold room in a hot country, again shivering, trying to force myself to go back to sleep. But beyond that, like, very messy beginning, it was very fun. We went on to boat rides to the Blue Lagoon. It was beautiful. I've never been on, I've never been like on a boat in the sea. So that was the first. I've never been in the sea like that. I've been to like Blackpool, but I've never actually like properly been in the sea. And for whatever reason, it felt a little less daunting than it does at Blackpool. At Blackpool, there is a sense of ominousness to it. I think it's normally because we went to Blackpool on cloudy days, or we went to Blackpool normally when there's barely anyone there. So there was this ominous vibe to it, like, oh, where is everything? And then Blackpool it lives up to its name. It's a black pool, so the water's quite dark. So it'll just be endless dark water going into the abyss of nothing. And yeah, and the beaches are rocky and stuff like that. So this was the first ever time I was really going onto like a sandy beach and very blue waters and stuff like that. And I swam in the Blue Lagoon to the fear of my parents, because there is a running debate between my friends and my family on my swimming abilities. I consistently say to them, I can swim, I just can't float. No one gets it, but it's a thing. I can swim, I just can't float. And they say to me, then you can't swim then? And I'm like, no, I can get you from point A to point B. I'll just be 10 meters below point B, but I'll be at point B. So I can get myself over. It's just managing to stay afloat I struggle with. Even when I was swimming in the Blue Lagoon, I really did struggle trying to keep myself like afloat without a floaty thing, because I don't know why, I'm just really terrible at float. I think maybe because I'm not entirely comfortable or whatever. But yeah, I'm not the best at floating. But the good thing about seawater is very salty, so it allows you to be a bit more buoyant. And that's what allowed me to be a little bit more comfortable and a bit more adventurous to go out. I did a bit of snorkeling, and then there was a lot of things going on. But yeah, I'll tell you more about it, because due to me going there, I do plan to create a video where I do create like either a building from Malta or something, because the buildings there were absolutely beautiful. I had this mindset that not all of Europe looks the same. It wasn't that mindset, but it was like, I didn't think I was going to be that like perplexed or that shocked when I saw the architecture in Malta, because again, I'm so used to seeing either Zimbabwean architecture or British architecture that I was like, okay, the architecture can't vary that much. Like, I see stuff online, but I was like, oh, I'm not going to be truly shocked at it. It maintained, because when we arrived at the airport, again, it was like very similar architecture to like Zimbabwean architecture. So I was like, again, it just doesn't feel like necessarily I'm in a different country until we actually started driving and getting away from the airport, because I feel like almost all hyper industrialized urban areas like airports and train stations have a very similar vibe. But once you actually get out of it and you start driving to the more rural areas, then you could truly understand and get the feel of the country. And it was so beautiful. I showed my mom pictures and she adored it. She was just like, I want to visit there. It was amazing. I'll say the vibe though is that there was a lot of, I don't know, it may be because of where we were at, there was a lot of people like quite younger, in the 20s or late teens and stuff like that. So if you're like older, I feel like you need to spend a little bit more money and go to the more expensive hotels to kind of get away from all of that. But yeah, I'll talk more about Malta when I do a Malta themed video. But this week is purely focused on LOVESTRUCK and building stuff in the LOVESTRUCK world and things like that. Okay, so now I've got that out of the way. Let's talk a bit about LOVESTRUCK from a build buyer perspective. From a build buyer perspective, I looked at very few videos. I think I looked at Little Simsy, and I think I only really looked at Little Simsy when it came to an overview of this pack before I could download it myself. And it is not quite the build as pack as ForRent was, and I wasn't expecting it to be either. This is very gameplay focused, and I love that because I'm actually quite excited to today, after I finish my daily applying for jobs session, I do want to reward myself a little bit with obviously reading my book, because my book is quite interesting at the moment. The pace, and I love it. I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but I do want to read a little bit more of my book, and I also do want to actually play in one of my save files utilizing the dating system and the online dating system. I feel like it would be a little bit of fun. But in terms of my book, it's the patience one, because I was not expecting from like the first chapter that's how it's going to be laid out, but it's like going per year. So we get to see the couple as they progress per year. And it's really fun and interesting for me, because for the past 2 weeks, I've been reading the exact same book. I don't normally do that. And it was a very long book. It was a very, very, very long book. And I don't normally focus on a book for 2 weeks like that, but I did, and it felt so satisfying to eventually have how the couple ended up and stuff like that. And it reminded me of the reason why I love some slow burns and not all slow burns is that to get into a slow burn, it's extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult to get so intertwined and interested in what's going on and everything, especially considering like maybe even the first entire book, if you read in a series, it's nothing to do with the couple. It's just like establishing plots and stuff like that. Of the first 2 books, like in my instance, the first 2 books was just establishing plot. It was the last 2 that really developed on the relationship and everything, but the epilogue was very long, and I appreciated that. Even though I don't believe they both wait, they did say I love you to each other. I've been at it for a second. But I love slow burns in an extent that once you do have an essence of the couple, and you can start to see how they're going to start like intertwining with each other, do you then get to like progress through and come back to them all the time? So you're doing something and you can come back, and it's just like, I love them. I just love them. And then it can be so like, it's mournful sometimes, because then you have to leave them at one point and you have to say goodbye to them, and you feel like you've developed this really strong relationship with them. But yeah, I'm going to quickly go through LOVESTRUCK because I can see that this video is almost finishing. Again, I was not expecting this to be a builders pack because we'd had quite a big builders pack last time. But I do love the elements we get in it. Obviously, I was expecting a lot more beds. There was 2. I was expecting a lot more. But I love the carpets, I love the wallpapers, every single one of them, and I love that we have more neon like wall lights and stuff like that. I wish we could actually color them like they were lights rather than wall art, but nevertheless I love them. I feel like this is such a perfect pack to do maybe like a love hotel like I did, which is quite unnecessary actually. There's going to be 2 versions of this. There's going to be a generic version, and there's also going to be a generic version, and there's also going to be an apartment version for anyone who just wants to use this, because this entire build is made with just the LOVESTRUCK pack and base game. So if you won't have ForRent if you've only got the LOVESTRUCK pack, so you can use this as a generic pack and just do all your love hotel meets, or you can use it as an apartment pack and just segment the apartments and everything. But I truly think this is like such a good pack, and with the addition of Eco Lifestyle and San Myshuno, I feel, and maybe Star Wars, I feel like you could make a very grungy like city apartment or kind of build kind of thing with this. Like I really wanted Eco Lifestyle to be added into this build because the trashy bins and everything would have really added to it, but it's got such an eccentric theme, and it reminds me a lot of like the 80s and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. The only gist I had was that for whatever reason, could not find the elevators, because it did come with elevators, but I could not find the elevators unless you have an apartment loft like build, which sucked. But yeah, it's whatever. But anyway, Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but if you don't, that's also okay. I appreciate you staying this long and listening to all of my ramblings. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below. Read all of your comments, the more the merrier, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Also, I'm sick.